House Speaker Mike Johnson joins me now. Do you think the president is mentally fit?
Jesse, I've spent a little bit of time with him, and I'm sad to tell you that I don't think he is. And the reason I'm sad is because we are projecting weakness on the world stage. All of our adversaries around the world can see and follow exactly what you and I and the American people are. We have a weak president, and that's why our enemies are acting so provocatively right now. This is not a game. It's really not a laughing matter. It's a dangerous situation, and this election in November can't get here soon enough.
When you say you spent time with the president and you've determined, in your opinion, that he's not mentally fit enough to be president, what do you mean? What did you see?
I don't mean to be uncharitable here. Look, we respect the office, right? And people can't change how they age. Everybody ages differently. I'm just telling you that President Biden is not on his A game. Can I say it that way? I mean, he's in person. He's rather slow, and obviously his staff handles him very carefully. For more than 6 weeks, I requested a meeting with the president one-on-one. The Speaker of the House and the President of the United States should be able to have a meeting. I needed to talk to him about very serious classified matters regarding national security, and of course the border as well. They couldn't arrange that meeting. They wouldn't arrange that meeting. When he finally relented, he invited 5 others to join us. So, you know, there was the Vice President was there, and Chuck Schumer, and Mitch McConnell, and Hakeem Jeffries. I think that these 2 offices, the persons who hold these 2 offices, need to be able to communicate more regularly, and that's been difficult with this president. And frankly, I think it's because they don't want to put me in a room with him alone. They're maybe afraid of what he might say if he goes off script. And again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. These are just the facts that everybody can see.
Well, we saw you at the State of the Union trying to hold back some emotion. It looks like you're very emotional that night. What's it like to be up there sitting next to Kamala Harris and listening to Joe Biden say what Joe Biden says?
Listen, it was a heavily partisan, vitriolic campaign speech. That's not what a State of the Union address is supposed to be. Over history, you know, presidents have been conciliatory. They've had at least segments in the speech that were bipartisan, where everyone can stand together and give an ovation for America and American values. There was none of that in that speech, and it was so frustrating to have to sit behind him and just take that, you know. And I had emphasized decorum for our side, emphasizing that, hey, as the Republicans, we're for order and not chaos. We're the rule of law team. We need to show it. And largely, everybody complied with that. But it was very difficult not to show on my face my disdain for what he was saying. It was full of untruths, and it was hyper-partisan, and that was not the place for it. It was very disappointing.
What's it like to sit next to Kamala? Did you guys exchange pleasantries throughout the evening?
We did. You know, it's an awkward setting for whomever is sitting there, and I always try to make nice and make conversation. And look, again, I don't have anything personally against the president or the vice president, but our policies are worlds apart. And what I'm concerned about is he didn't say a single word in that speech really about what he would do to fix the border crisis, this catastrophe that he has created, a humanitarian catastrophe, national security catastrophe. Nothing. It took him 41 minutes to mention the border in that speech. He talked about the size of Snicker bars as a higher priority. You know, I mean, it was not anything that we could applaud or go along with, and that's the problem.
I did not have Snickers coming up in the State of the Union, but click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.